Hello, everyone on the Educator's Edge. I am so happy today to have my friend Sylvia Morrison with us today to tell us about a really special project she's working on. But first, we want to get to know her and know what she's doing and her why behind it. I met Sylvia earlier in the year at the mastermind for the Women Speak. And I found out all about what she is doing there. And I just became so inspired. And I've been following her journey on the Women Speak Facebook page. And she's got something special she's going to share with us eventually here and see if maybe we can kind of spur the end of this project she's got going. So welcome, Sylvia. And if you could just give us a little background of where you're coming from today and a little bit about your own story, and then lead into your wonderful nonprofit.
Yes, thank you so much, Denise. I really appreciate this opportunity to share with your audience about what we're doing. So, I'm Sylvia Morrison. I was born and raised in Jamaica. And I've lived in Canada for over 35 years and recently moved to Ghana, where my work is now positioned. I've been an educator all my life, so I really like, educator's edge. Um, I am the mother of two young adults. They're probably old adults now, older than me. Uh, and I really I love education and I love reading and I love books and I love children. Yes. And so a bit about my journey and how I've come to this. Growing up in Jamaica, I grew up in a community or in a family where I didn't have access to a lot of resources. We had a lot of love, but not a lot of resources. I didn't know that we were poor, but in terms of what things that money could buy, there were a lot of those that I didn't have. One of the things that I had in abundance, though, was books. I had access to books in abundance because there was a little library just walking distance, a few steps from my house. And I would spend a lot of time in that library every afternoon that Miss Hilda, God rest her soul in peace, who was our librarian, as she would pass my house each evening, each afternoon, I would be behind her going into the library and I would spend my time there. So I traveled the world through books. As much as I thought life in my community wasn't exactly what I'd love for it to be, I got to dream and travel because of books. And so fast forward into 2006, when I went to Ghana for the very first time, and I noticed, and I just went to Ghana because I wanted to go there. I always knew growing up in Jamaica that I'm an African child. And so I dreamed of the day when I would be able to go to Africa. Didn't have a place, just Africa. The big old continent. I'm just going to land there. At that time, as a child, I probably even thought that Africa was a small place like Jamaica. um, but growing up and, becoming an adult and learning about the world, I knew that I had to pick a place. So the place that picked me was Ghana. And when I went to Ghana for the first time in 2006, I noticed that children didn't have access to books. And for some reason, that stood out to me more than anything else that I saw. And it's probably because the children looked like me. The little girls running around and giggling and playing reminded me of myself growing up. And so the reality that I didn't see them reading, I didn't see myself, which was reflected in them, sitting under a tree with a book. I missed that image and I wanted it. And there's a saying, I don't know who said it, but I even have that quotation written somewhere in my social media. If you think someone should do something about that, remember you are somebody.
Wow.
And so that was with me. I thought somebody should do something about this, that children don't have access to books. And I left from there thinking about what can I do? And over the years, I've been doing what I can about it.
Oh, Sylvia, that's just I never heard quite that story with it. And I'm so glad you shared that today because it's just
Yes.
it's so profound. And
Yes.
I want you then to go in and tell us a little bit about what you named this wonderful work that you're doing in the world, a little
Yes.
bit about its backstory, and then we'll lead into why I have you here
Yes.
today.
Okay. So I founded a nonprofit organization in 2009 after I had been visiting Ghana already for 3 years and had been supporting children for school. And each year that I'm going, I would tell friends of mine that I'm going, and they would give me, some of the resources I'm taking, books for children, school supplies, clothing, toys, whatever they could, and money. And so in 2006 and 2009, I just thought, this is growing, and I want it to be something that would live long after I am gone. I wanted it not to only be Sylvia Morrison, somebody's friend. I wanted it to be an organization that even when this body expires, that thing can live on and be run by other bodies.
Mm.
And so I named the organization Links Across Borders. And what Links Across Borders does is we co-create libraries in Ghana. We built the first library in Ghana in 2013. And since that time, we've completed 8 libraries in Ghana, in rural parts of Ghana. And we provide books and other educational resources. We also provide volunteer abroad opportunities for individuals, post-secondary students included. In fact, I've taken over 200 post-secondary students and community members to volunteer with Links Across Borders in Ghana. We have supplied libraries with over 50,000 books.
Wow.
And I say it not to brag, but to, just to impress upon someone that sometimes there might be something you want to do in the world and you are thinking, I don't know how I don't think I can, I don't have all the resources. I do not have a lot of resources, but I have accomplished that
Mhm.
with this nonprofit organization. And so I'm saying that to say that when we decide in our hearts for the thing that our heart wants to do, it
Mhm.
gets done once we say yes to it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
You know,
yes. And that,
and in our background too of learning about personal development, they say
mhm.
be the change you want to see in the world, but don't worry about
Yes.
how that's going to happen. Because when
That's
you
right.
put that out there, because Sylvia, you have a story that you shared in your mastermind speech on Women Speak about kind of how it took off with getting people volunteering to
Yes.
come over. And I want you to share that
Yes.
story because when you put this out, and I know because I've done it over and over the
Mhm.
last couple years myself, and I'm always amazed at what shows up. And it's your spirit God with the prayer and the purpose you have on your heart that's making it happen. So you just keep going. But I want you to share
Exactly.
that story because
Yes.
it really comes from a student, doesn't it? how it kind of
Yes,
got started with you getting over 200,
absolutely.
200 people to visit there.
That's right. Yes. So I'll share that story, because it's a story that reminds me each time that I feel, because there are times when I feel afraid.
Mhm.
Um, and that story reminds me really that how afraid I was that time. So it was the fall. It was fall in the school year. We were just starting the fall semester, and I had students, 2012, and I had my brand new set of students coming to the college. Some of them were returning to school, and some of them had been out of school for a long time. And as they were walking into the classroom, I watched them coming in and feeling delighted that I get to work with this new group of students. And as they settled into their seats, I was thinking, okay, we're going to do this introductory exercise, and I like making it fun. So I asked folks to introduce themselves, say your name and a little bit about yourself, and tell us, what would you do if you had $1 million? And I said to them, you could be serious about what you would do with $1 million, and you could also just fantasize and make up something. And I don't care what it is. We just want to hear what you have to say.
Mhm.
And so as we went around the room and each student introduced themselves and say what they would do with $1 million, when it was my turn, I told them that what I would do with my million, part of what I would do with my $1 million is fund my library building projects in Ghana.
Mhm.
And so at the end of us all saying what we would do, a student raised her hand and asked, may I ask you a question, Miss? And I said, sure. And she said, when you mentioned your library building projects in Ghana, is that fantasy or real? And I said, it is real. I'm building libraries in Ghana.
Mhm.
Well, in truth and in fact, I hadn't started building libraries in Ghana yet. I had mentioned in Ghana the year before that I am going to build a library next year. And when I had said that, I didn't know how it was going to happen.
Mhm.
And here I am in the classroom now telling students I would fund my library building projects, but they didn't really exist in reality yet, just in my mind. So I told her, yes, I am building libraries in Ghana. And as soon as I answered that question, and then I said, and I am offering a placement to first year students in the spring to participate in this project. Now, none of that was a plan I had laid out.
Mhm.
I just heard it coming out of my mouth in that moment.
Mhm.
And as soon as it fell out of my mouth, a student raised her hand and said, how do I apply to go on this placement? Because I would like to do it. And I thought, oh my gosh. But I couldn't swallow my tongue. And the words had already come out. And so I said to the student, let's talk about that later on. And I said that because I wanted to give myself time to come up with a plan because I didn't have a plan. And she's asking me about the process of applying. And so she came up to me during the break and I didn't have an answer. And so I quickly said to her, I think we both need to take a break. So let's use the break time for break, but come back to me at the end of class.
Oh.
And so I am hoping that she would forget and just go on her merry way at the end of class, but she didn't. She came back to me at the end of class and she asked the question. Well, by that time, I had just raised the question up to spirit and said, what should I say to her? Because I don't have a plan. And what came to me was resume. That's it. And so I just looked at her when she walked up to me. I felt a sense of relief that I have an answer. So I just said to her, after she asked the question, I said, just send me your resume. And I said that with confidence because I felt sure that she didn't have her resume ready because she didn't know that this opportunity was coming. And so she wouldn't be ready, and I would have time to design a plan by the time she gets me her resume. Well, I was wrong. By the time I got to my office later that day and checked emails, her resume was in my inbox.
Wow.
And now I'm thinking, how is that? What do I do now? What do I do? And, I thought about that for a while and I didn't respond to the email right away. I thought, I now have to come up with a plan. So as I'm thinking about it, I'm designing a plan in my mind. And I thought, okay, the next step, I'm going to offer an information session. And I put that a date on it for 2 weeks away. That I would host an information session. I would tell students about this opportunity. And by that time, I would have a process laid out that I could present to them. Well, before that day arrived, there were other emails in my inbox because this student had gone on recruiting students for this placement that I don't know how it's going to happen. And so after the information session, and by the time I even at the information session gave out application forms because by that time I created some. And to tell you the truth, at the information session, there were 3 people.
Wow.
3. And not even the student who had raised her hand in class was present.
Hmm.
But I had, within 2 weeks, a 2 week period, I had 10 applications in my inbox from students who had heard from this student and other students that she had told who now wanted to go on this placement. So my information session didn't bring anybody. And within a couple months of that, I had 8 students who had done their interviews with me, had been selected for the placement, and were preparing now to go with me to Ghana. All of them recruited by this student and others who said, I want to go and I'm going to tell my friend, or I want to go and I know somebody else who might want to go. None of this was my work. And, back to your point, when we have a dream in our heart, when Spirit gives us something and we put it out into the world, it's important that we realize that the idea that comes to me in my heart is not just my idea. It is Spirit's idea for what it wants to manifest in the world. So when I said, I'm offering this placement, not knowing how it's going to happen, a student raised her hand. She didn't know I was going to offer this, and I didn't know somebody in the room wanted to do this. So instead, if I had hidden that in my heart and not said it, I would have blocked the opportunity for this student and these 8 students who went with me first to have the opportunity to go.
I just think it's an incredible story. And when Sylvia shared it in her speech, I knew that I was on a different trajectory with what I wanted to do, but it was just the same thing. And it's the message of my children's book. What you say to your mind will then say to you. It all starts with your words, which you have the power to choose. And in your case, it was on your heart, but the words came out in that moment, and then it all happened. And that's how it happens. And I think people need to know that your dream may be a wish that your heart makes, but when you speak it to other people are the how. They are the ones that will come in and will find a way step by step, day by day, challenge by challenge to make it happen. And so, Sylvia, I want you to share with us today what your newest project is. I love this project after I just did my own children's book, and I'm so excited for you. Tell us what you're doing with the children's book and how maybe on the Educator's Edge we can help you with this last bit of this dream.
Thank you so much. So I have various reading clubs in Ghana, that we run through the libraries and in communities. And as we are working with students, I love to tell the children about how books come together. And I do that because I want them to understand that books are not something that is so mysterious and so far out from them, creating. And I want them to know that um, authors and illustrators and book designers are ordinary people.
Mhm.
And I continue to say to them, poor children who don't have access to a lot, but I continue to say to them, you can be an author, you can be an illustrator. And then I went as far as saying to them last year, so we are going to be writing books and we are going to be published authors in this reading club.
I know what's going to happen
Yes,
next.
my mouth, my mouth.
And they don't ever let you forget it either.
No, no. And so the children believe me, and I am believing it more and more. And so I decided that the first one should be written this year because Spirit said, this is it. You give leadership to this work. You do this by example. And so we're writing the first children's book this year. Now I've completed the manuscript. I am so excited. I've completed the manuscript. My editor loved the story and did an amazing job of editing it. And then we went searching for an illustrator. And I have found the illustrator that I really want to work with. And in fact, she has said yes, she's excited to work with us. And we're fundraising. We're fundraising to pay the illustrator and to complete publication of this book. So I created, in fact, one of my past students, actually, someone who went with me on her placement to Ghana years ago. I was talking with her and I said, I need to fundraise to complete this project. And I don't know how to do any of this crowdfunding thing. And she said to me, she calls me Mama, because I am Mama Agbalenyo, the first in Ghana. And she knew that when she came to Ghana with us. And she said, Mama, I would love to help with that. I said, you would love to give us the money, or what would you like to help to do? And she said, I could help to create the GoFundMe. I would be happy to do that. And I would also donate. And so she did. She created the GoFundMe. It is created in my name for Links Across Borders, and she gave her donation. And so the goal that we had set for that is $3,000. And right now we're just over, yesterday it went just over 2,000. And I would really, really love if we could take it just over the top in these next few days. That would be a great Christmas present for me to be able to say we have fundraised to our goal.
Yes.
And something that's also exciting, Denise, is that someone who has supported Links Across Borders over the years, from time to time, he would give a donation. He saw the GoFundMe and he said to me, Sylvia, I want to support that in a big way.
Wow.
I am willing to match. When you reach your goal, I will match it.
Oh my God.
Even if, yes.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know
he said,
that
I
part.
will match it. He said, I
Wow.
will match it. Even if you increase your goal to 5,000, I would match it. And I thought, oh my gosh, I won't increase the goal. I will keep it at the 3,000. But gosh, can people just help me take it to the 3,000 and have him match it?
Hey,
Because
so
then I could just breathe.
so
So easy.
this is our ask today, everyone on the Educator's Edge. We're going to put the link below the video.
Yes.
And
Yes.
let's see if we can help Sylvia get to this goal so that she can get it matched so this book can come out to the world. I am so excited. And this is what when I saw her on Women Speak with this goal, I thought, okay, I need to bring her on the Educator's Edge. And I think we need to give her a Christmas gift, don't you, for all these years of work she's done in Africa with Links Across Borders. I mean, seriously, 50,000 books. Do I have that right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
8
yes. Over
libraries.
50,000. Yes,
Over 200 volunteers have gone abroad with
yes,
this program.
yes. Mhm.
And I just would love to see us be able to do this. So we're going to post this and we will keep you abreast of where it's at. And I hope, Sylvia, that we can give you this wonderful Christmas present.
I would be so, so grateful.
Okay.
And I
Well,
thank you. Thank you so much
thank
for
you so
this.
much for coming on today. I know this is, you've even got your Christmas red on today. So
Yes, exactly.
she's in the season. I got to go
Yes.
green a little bit here. So we're red and green today. So, yes, blessings to you in your work. And I'm just going to put this out here. I have something in the back of my mind that I'd like to do. And, that's a continent I haven't been on yet. So I have a little idea and we'll talk. So,
Yes.
okay, I put it out there. Everybody heard me. Okay. Thanks, Sylvia.
Thank you so much, Denise.
And
Have a
have
wonderful
a
day.
wonderful holiday season.
Yes. Thank you. And you too.
Bye
Bye-bye.
now.